But I want you to know something. I don't want someone to come and insult me one day and the next day try to tell me about Jesus. Unless they're coming to ask me for forgiveness and say, hey, look, man, I was out of character yesterday. I don't know why I was acting that way. I ask you to please forgive me. Mm-hmm. You know, Jesus forgave me of my sins and I should do much better than what I did. I apologize. Now that I accept. Right. Amen?
I try to treat people.
But we got to live our life in a way how can I say that it's no flaws? That's not the word I'm using for, but no flaws. That people can look at us and not find any fault. Amen? Whew. This was supposed to have been a message about miracles today. Now it's turned into something whole lot different.
No, it's good.
To teach us that we have to live a life above reproach. You say, oh yeah, you preachers do. No, we Christians do. Because see, what you don't understand is everyone who comes to Christ is a minister. God called us to be witnesses. Notice it didn't say go out and witness. That doesn't mean we don't go out and witness, but it says to be witnesses. In other words, if I'm on the streets witnessing, I'm a witness. If I'm at home, I'm a witness. If I'm on my job, I'm a witness. If I'm at the store, I'm a witness. If I'm at church, it's easy to be a witness. We even say, can I get a witness?
Yes.
Amen.
And you have 100 people saying, amen.
Amen.
But are those 100 people a witness when they go out into the world? Are they a witness to their unsaved spouse? Are they a witness to their unsaved children? Their unsaved neighbors? Are they a witness? You know, I remember years ago, we had a baseball player for the Cleveland Indians by the name of Andre Thornton. Some of you may have heard me tell this before. Andre Thornton, they called him Thunder Thornton because he would thunder the ball. But he was a born-again Christian. And his wife, him and his first wife and his 2 children were on the way to Pennsylvania to visit family, her family, and it was in a snowstorm and their van flipped over and killing the wife and the daughter.
Wow.
And so this man, you know, he later was traded to the Cleveland Indians, and or he might have been with the Cleveland Indians when that happened, I don't recall. But he later met a young lady whose father was part of the Billy Graham Ministries, and they got married, and you know, he wrote a book, and I actually got to meet him at his book, you know, when he was promoting his book. And there was a guy by the name of Jim Kern. He was the reliever. He was the closer. And they traded him to Texas Rangers. This is back in the late 70s. No, this was in the 80s, early 80s, because I was already saved. And I read an article in the newspaper that Jim Kern said he was glad to get out of Cleveland and go to Texas because all he could hear was, all they wanted to do in Cleveland was to preach. He was referring to Andre Thornton. He had mentioned his name. All he wants to do is preach to everybody. I kind of looked down at Kern for having an attitude. Well, some years later, how many of you know God knows how to make sure you read the right thing?
Yes.
Some years later, I read another article where they were talking about, where Jim Kern was talking about Andre Thornton. And he said, well, one thing I can say about Andy is that he lives what he preaches.
Singing a
Isn't it amazing how God, I'm talking about 4 or 5 years different time there.
Singing
Isn't it amazing how God puts something in you where you read something and then years later you read the end of the story?
Yeah.
Amen. Let's get in here and talk about Tabitha. It says, and it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died. How many of you know that's pretty sick. It says she was sick and died. You know, I hear people saying all the time, man, I'm sick today. Amen. How you doing? Well, I'm sick. Well, this lady was sick. You know, we're a little under the weather sometimes. No, this lady was sick. She died. Amen. And it says that, it says, whom when they had washed, they laid her in an upper chamber. And for as much as Lydda was nigh to Joppa, let me go back, because I didn't read that right. It says, and it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died, whom when they had washed, they laid her in an upper chamber. For as much as Lydda was nigh to Joppa, the disciples had heard that Peter was there, and they sent unto him 2 men, desiring him that he would not delay to come to them. These people took her up, prepared her body for burial, but they had one last hope. Hey, the disciples said that Peter's over, like 12 miles away or 25 miles away. He wasn't very far. And they sent some people there to get Peter. Now listen to what happened here. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he was come, they brought unto him to the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping and showing the coats and the garments which Dorcas made while she was with them. Now look, these people, they loved her. These women fell in love with her because she showed them the love of God. I wonder how many of them came to Christ because of her. I wonder how many was encouraged to continue to walk with Christ even in the midst of persecution because of Dorcas. There was something about her that attracted people to her. She was kind. She would create little garments, sew garments, and different little loving gifts, garments that the coats and garments that she would make and give to them. I have at home. Since the cable company decided that they want to take even more money from us, like they're not getting enough, and now you have to purchase or rent a box for every TV. I have a TV in my bedroom that hadn't been on in months because I'm not paying another $12 for a box. So I had this little. It's a picture stitched with stitches of the Last Supper, and it's different than this. It's this is all the guys together with Jesus. That was made by Sister Thelma. She made it. She drew it and made it by hand. And I have that hanging there every morning. I see it when I wake up, every night when I go to bed. Every time I walk in my room, that thing is hanging on top of my little TV sitting there. And that reminded me of this, the garments, the coats and the garments that she made for them. And now that she's gone, these things suddenly become even more precious. They were always precious. It was always nice to know that this beautiful lady made these and gave it to me. She thought enough for me that she gave it to me. Mm-hmm. But now she's gone. This may be the last memory I have of her, the last item that I can treasure that reminds me of her. Amen? Mm-hmm. And so they're sharing with Peter, and listen to what Peter did in the 40th verse. It says, but Peter put them all forth. Why did he put them out? Same reason Jesus put them out with the little girl. Because there may be some unbelief there. I remember a few years ago, my Aunt Sally, her granddaughter, right after Rick was killed, like a month later, 2 months later, her granddaughter had